Welcome to LatinoAmericans with your host and narrator, Jacqueline Torres.
Everything you need to know about Latino history by the author Emilce Novas. She is an expert in Latino history, culture, literature, and human rights. We will start today with Admiral Ramón Power was among the first Puerto Ricans to press for greater representation. In 1810, he was elected to represent Puerto Rico at the Spanish Parliament, or Cortes. Before the Spanish Cortes, he argued that as part of the Spanish Empire, Puerto Rico should enjoy the same rights granted to Spain's provinces. Power succeeded in securing both a more liberal constitution for Puerto Rico and Puerto Ricans' right to Spanish citizenship. His provisions for greater self-rule, including the distribution of land to natives and freedom from taxation for those willing to work the land, were contained in the Ley Power, the Power Act, and later in the Real Cédula de Gracias, issued by Ferdinand VII of Spain in 1815. Spanish leniency vis-a-vis Puerto Rico did not last long. When prominent Puerto Rican leaders championed complete autonomy for Puerto Rico, Spain responded by dispatching despotic military governors to the island, who demanded greater allegiance to the mother country and higher taxes from the Puerto Ricans. From 1837 to 1864, the governors denied islanders a voice in their own affairs and persecuted many Puerto Rican leaders, sending some into exile. One such leader was physician and patriot Ramón Betances, who called for an end to slavery in Puerto Rico, which, in spite of being officially abolished, was in full swing. He also demanded freedom of speech and freedom of religion for the people of the island. In the late 1860s, Puerto Rico's governor expelled Betances from the island for his revolutionary ideas. Betances sought refuge in the Dominican Republic and in the United States, where with other Puerto Rican freedom fighters, among them Segundo Ruiz Belvis, he formed in January 1868 the Comité Revolucionario de Puerto Rico, the Revolutionary Committee of Puerto Rico, which planned an armed revolt for Puerto Rican independence. On September 23, 1868, thousands of Betances supporters, heeding his call for independence, marched into the small town of Lares in western Puerto Rico, wielding firearms and machetes. They set up a provisional government and declared the island the Republic of Puerto Rico. This revolt, which the Spanish easily squelched, became known as El Grito de Lares, the Cry of Lares. Since 1969, September 23rd has been a national holiday commemorating El Grito de Lares, both on the island and the mainland. Who was Luis Muñoz Rivera, and why is he called the George Washington of Puerto Rico? In the aftermath of El Grito de Lares, Puerto Ricans demonstrated an unshakable resolve to achieve self-determination and move Puerto Rico forward. They gained some ground in 1887 when Román Valdoriotti de Castro, an advocate of Puerto Rican autonomy, together with José de Diego, organized Puerto Rico's reform-minded liberals under the banner of a political party, the Autonomist Party. After Valdoriotti's death in 1889, Puerto Rican journalist Luis Muñoz Rivera took control of the Autonomist Party and proposed that it and other splinter parties form a coalition with Spain's Partido Liberal Fusionista, Fusionist Liberal Party, which he believed would cut a deal for Puerto Rican independence. Was Puerto Rico really free for only a week? As it turned out, Luis Muñoz Rivera was correct in his assumption. In 1898, Praxedes Mateo Sagasta of Spain's controlling Fusionist Liberal Party granted Puerto Ricans the same privileges that all Spanish citizens enjoyed, as well as the right to elect a Puerto Rican governor general to head a provisional assembly in Puerto Rico that would have full control over local taxes, budgets, and education, and would elect representatives to the Spanish Parliament, or Cortes. Luis Muñoz Rivera won the election for governor general, becoming the first Puerto Rican governor of Puerto Rico on July 24, 1898. A giant step toward full sovereignty for the island of Puerto Rico. A week earlier, on July 17, 1898, the autonomous Parliament of Puerto Rico had assembled for the first time, but Puerto Ricans would enjoy the first taste of freedom for only 1 week. On July 25th, in the final phase of the Spanish-American War, U.S. military forces landed at the small port of Guanica in southwestern Puerto Rico and occupied the island with minimal resistance.
Thank you for listening to Latino Americans with your host and narrator, Jacqueline Torres.